All right, guys, so this story from the AP is wild. And I have to admit, I came in it a little skeptical, or at the very least, I came in it with an open mind, where I thought, hey, this could be just like a smear tactic. It smells a little fishy to have an article like this about Cornel West. It seems very similar to what they do to all third-party candidates or independent candidates at one point or another. They try to portray them as, beyond the pale, unacceptable, propped up by a shadowy network of people with a nefarious agenda, etc. You guys know the drill, right? But we're going to go through the specifics of the article, and you're going to make your own mind up, but I certainly have some conclusions myself, let's say. So the Associated Press says the following: GOP network props up liberal third-party candidates in key states, hoping to siphon off Harris votes. Okay. So let me just pause to point out real quick, and I think this is important to point out. Everybody should believe in having a genuine and sincere democratic process where, yes, third-party candidates can get on the ballot. Because that's what freedom is. That's what democracy is. You might not like the party, you might not like the candidate or whatever. That doesn't really fucking matter. What matters is people have a right to vote for whoever the fuck they want to vote for. The process should be simple and straightforward, and you should be able to get on the ballot as an independent or get on the ballot as a third-party candidate. I don't think this is controversial. It shouldn't be controversial. And of course, the real answer is we need ranked choice voting so that people don't fear the spoiler effect of like, oh, if I vote for this far left candidate, am I taking a vote from the center left candidate who could actually win, right? So we need ranked choice voting, but also I think as a matter of principle, people should just be allowed on the ballot if they hit the minimum threshold, and it shouldn't be rigged against those people. Now, having said all that, let's get into the details of who's funding Cornel West and his effort to get on the ballot. Here we go. Italo Medelius, interesting name, was leading a volunteer drive to put Cornel West on North Carolina's presidential ballot last spring when he received an unexpected call from a man named Paul who said he wanted to help. Though Medelius, co-chairman of West Justice for All Party, welcomed the assistance, the offer would complicate his life, provoking threats and drawing him into a state election board investigation of the motivations, backgrounds, and suspect tactics of his new allies. He is not an isolated case. Across the country, a network of Republican political operatives, lawyers, and their allies is trying to shape November's election in ways that favor former President Donald Trump. Their goal is to prop up third-party candidates such as West, who offer liberal voters an alternative that could siphon away support from Vice President Kamala Harris, the Democratic nominee. It is not clear who is paying for the effort, but it could be impactful in states that were decided by minuscule margins in the 2020 election won by Democrat Joe Biden. This is money West's campaign does not have, and he has encouraged the effort. Last month, the academic told the Associated Press that American politics is highly gangster-like activity. And he, quote, just wanted to get on the ballot. Trump has offered praise for West, calling him one of my favorite candidates. Another's Green Party candidate, Jill Stein, Trump favors both for the same reason. Quote, I like her very much. You know why? She takes 100% from them. He takes 100%. Democrats are exploring ways to lift Randall Terry, an anti-abortion presidential candidate for the Constitution Party, believing he could draw voters from Trump. But the GOP effort appears to be more far-reaching. After years of Trump accusing Democrats of rigging elections, it is his allies who are now mounting a sprawling and at times deceptive campaign to tilt the vote in his favor. Quote, the fact that either of the two major parties would attempt financially and otherwise to support a third-party spoiler candidate as part of its efforts to win is an unfortunate byproduct of current election laws that facilitate spoilers, said Edward B. Foley, a law professor who leads Ohio State University's election law program. This phenomenon is equally problematic whichever of the two major parties engages in it. Okay, so in other words, he's saying what I'm saying, which is like, just do ranked choice voting and you won't have to worry about this, right? All right, let's continue. One key figure in the push is Paul Hamr, the man on the other end of the call with Medelius in North Carolina. Hamr serves as counsel for the Virginia-based nonprofit People Over Party, which has pushed to get West on the ballot in Arizona, Maine, Minnesota, Pennsylvania, and Virginia, as well as North Carolina, records show. In an interview, Hamr declined to say who else besides him was orchestrating the effort, and he would not divulge who was funding it. He vigorously disputed any suggestion that he was a Republican, but acknowledged that he was not a Democrat either. His history is complex. Hamr was chief of staff to former Alabama Governor Don Siegelman, a one-term Democrat who was booted from office in 2003 and was later convicted and sentenced to prison on federal bribery, conspiracy, and mail fraud charges. Hamrick was charged alongside his former boss in 2 separate cases. One was dismissed and he was acquitted in the other. Though he insists he is not a Republican, Hamrick voted in Alabama's Republican primary in 2002, 2006, and 2010, according to state voting records maintained by the political data firm L2. He was tapped briefly in 2011 to work for the Alabama State Senate Republican majority, and since 2015, according to federal campaign finance disclosures, he has contributed only to GOP causes, including $2,500 to the Alabama Republican Party and $3,300 to Georgia Representative Mike Collins, a Republican who has trafficked in conspiracy theories. Okay, so right now, red flags. So the person leading the charge to try to get Cornel West on the ballot is basically a dyed-in-the-wool Republican who believes in conservative policies. Hamrick denied that he voted in any Republican primaries, but that's public record, suggesting that the voting data was inaccurate. For years, he was a consultant for Matrix LLC, an Alabama firm known for its hardball approach. Matrix LLC was part of an effort in Florida to run ghost candidates against elected officials who had raised the ire of executives for Florida Power and Light, the state's largest utility. Daniela Levine Cava, the current mayor of Miami-Dade County, was a target. As a county commissioner, Levine Cava had fought with FPL. When she ran for re-election in 2018, Matrix covertly financed a third-party candidate they hoped would siphon enough votes to tip her seat to a Republican challenger, the Miami Herald reported in 2022. Wow. Hamrick was deeply involved. A company he created paid the spoiler candidate a $60,000 salary and rented a $2,300 a month home for him, according to the newspaper and business filings made in Alabama. Hamrick said the candidate worked for him to help recruit business. Hamrick denied having anything to do with the man's campaign. So guys, do you understand what they're saying here? So this guy was involved with Matrix LLC, and the whole point of Matrix LLC is they were funded by industry, Florida Power and Light, and they would purposefully run third-party candidates and fund them. They knew those candidates weren't going to win, but they were just running them in an effort to take votes away from the Democrat so that the Republican can win. That was the point. That was their point. Wow. Okay, I didn't know any of this stuff. This stuff is wild. Either way, it did not work. Levine Cava was reelected before winning the mayor's seat in 2020. Now Hamrick is playing a prominent role to place West's name on the ballot in competitive states. Hamrick surfaced in Arizona 2 weeks ago after a woman told the AP that a document was fraudulently submitted in her name to Arizona's Secretary of State, in which she purportedly agreed to serve as an elector for West. She said her signature was forged and she never agreed to be an elector. Oh my God. So this Republican con artist who's leading the charge to get Cornel West on the ballot, he's forging people's names and fraudulently submitting them as electors for Cornel West. This is incredible. Holy shit. After the AP published her account, Hamrick said he spoke to the woman's husband, trying to rectify the situation, and gave some information. Hamrick declined to say what information was shared. He also tried to persuade another elector who backed out to recommit to West, according to interviews and voicemails. The next day, with the deadline to qualify for the Arizona ballot just hours away, Brett Johnson, a prominent Republican lawyer, and Amanda Reeve, a former GOP state lawmaker, made house visits to each as they tried to persuade both to sign new paperwork to serve as West electors. So now you have a prominent Republican lawyer and a former Republican lawmaker at the last minute desperately trying to get Cornel West on the ballot in Arizona. Holy shit. Johnson and Reeve work for Snell and Wilmer, which has done $257,000 worth of business for the Republican National Committee over the past 2 years, campaign finance disclosures show. So in other words, this is a high-powered Republican law firm, and they're leading the charge for Cornel West. Hamrick declined to comment on the role of Johnson and Reeve. They did not respond to requests for comment. West did not qualify for the Arizona ballot, so despite their efforts, they were too late. Other Republican-aligned law firms also have been involved in the national push opposing Democrat-backed challenges to West's place on the ballot. See, now that's different because the Democrats are trying to sue to keep Jill Stein and Cornel West off the ballot, but the whole reason the Democrats are suing is just because they're afraid, hey, you're going to hurt our chances, therefore we don't think you should be allowed to run. That's hacky on the part of the Democrats, right? So it's not like, this is not a clear-cut story here. It's pointing out there is an alliance made in hell between third-party left-wing movements and Republicans who want to bolster them purposely to hurt Democrats, knowing they're not going to win, knowing all it's going to do is hurt their opponent. That's what they're doing. It's very Machiavellian, right? But at the same time, The Democrats shouldn't be trying to kick these people off the ballot. Allow them on the ballot and do ranked choice voting, right? Oh, Jesus Christ. In Georgia, Brian Tyson, a partner at the election law group, represented the state Republican Party as it tried to keep West on the ballot. The firm has collected $60,000 in payments from the RNC since April, campaign finance records show. Tyson did not respond to a request for comment. On Thursday, Republican Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger overruled an administrative law judge and placed West Stein and Party for Socialism and Liberation nominee Claudia De La Cruz on the ballot. Tyson did not respond to a message seeking comment. In North Carolina, Phil Strach, a member of the Republican National Lawyers Association, successfully challenged in court a North Carolina State Board of Elections decision to bar West from the ballot. Strach did not respond to a message left for him. In Michigan, John Birch, a senior lawyer for the Alliance Defending Freedom, the conservative legal group that helped overturn Roe v. Wade, successfully fended off a challenge to West's placement on the ballot. Birch's firm, Birch Law PLLC, was paid $25,000 by Trump's campaign in November 2020 for recount legal consulting. According to campaign finance disclosures, Birch did not respond to a request for comment. In other words, the conservative Republican legal group that helped overturn Roe v. Wade is the same group that's currently fighting in Michigan to keep Cornel West on the ballot. Wow. And you go state for state, you see this everywhere. In Pennsylvania, a lawyer with long-standing ties to Republican candidates and causes unsuccessfully argued in August for West to stay on the ballot. The attorney, Matt Haverstick, declined to say in an interview who hired him or why. People Over Party, the group Hamr is affiliated with, had tried to get West on the ballot. None of these actions was funded by West's campaign, though he and his Justice for All party have coordinated at times with Hamrick's People Over Party. People Over Party, according to legal filings, a news release and social media posts. In North Carolina, People Over Party worked with Blitz Canvassing and Campaign and Petition Management, two firms that routinely work for the GOP, to gather signatures for West. Hamrick later responded in writing on behalf of workers for two companies after the state election board opened its inquiry. Jefferson Thomas, a longtime Republican operative from Colorado, submitted petition signatures that his firm, the Synapse Group, gathered on behalf of Stein in New Hampshire. Records show he did not respond to requests for comment. And then he goes on. In Wisconsin, Blair Group Consulting oversaw West's petition signature to drive to qualify for the ballot. As previously reported by USA Today, David Blair, the firm's president, was the national director of Youth for Trump during the 2016 campaign and was a spokesman in the Trump administration. Blair declined to comment. And this goes on, guys. I mean, the article's almost over, but the point is, it is an undeniable fact that there is a cabal of Republican legal experts and Republican Party officials who they are making it their mission to get Cornel West on the ballot, fund legal fights if necessary, pay for the signatures, pay to get on, etc. They're doing all the heavy lifting to get him on the ballot. Now, listen, as I said, I think he should be on the ballot. I think Jill Stein should be on the ballot. I think Cornel West should be on the ballot. I think Chase Oliver should be on the ballot. I think whoever else is run should be on the ballot. I think that's what it should be in a democracy, right? Having said that, if I'm in Cornel West's shoes and I am seeing Trump Republicans and big money Republican billionaires move heaven and earth to support me, I'm stopping to think, hey, I wonder why they're doing that. Do they agree with my takes? Do they agree with Medicare for all? Do they agree with higher wages? Do they agree we should cut off the weapons to Israel? Or are they doing it for some other reason? I wonder what they're doing this for. I wonder why these people are being so nice to me. Because he knows. He's smart enough. He knows. Oh, they're doing that because in their mind, they think of me as a spoiler. They think I'm going to hurt Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. And they want me to hurt Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they want Trump to win. So I would have to pause and look in the mirror and think here, wow. So it's not an army of independent leftists who are moving heaven and earth for me and doing the groundwork for me and getting me on the ballot and moving us forward. It's not that. It's not independents. It's not moderates. It's not swing voters. It's not leftists. It's not populists. It's none of them. It's right-wing hacks. That's a bit of a problem, isn't it? So what you can't deny is that the facts are the facts. And there is absolutely a Republican network, a Republican cabal of elites who are doing everything they can to help out Cornel West. And he apparently hasn't stopped to think, as a matter of principle, am I okay with these people doing it. Look, it's one thing if you have converted run-of-the-mill Republican voters to your left-wing ideas and they want to help you. That's fine. This is not that. He's not converting run-of-the-mill Republican voters. This is like the right-wing legal group that helped overturn Roe versus Wade. This is Republican multimillionaires and billionaires. This is a GOP network that's currently in league with Trump, and they're doing all the work for you. I'd have a problem with that in principle. Saying, oh, I know why they're doing this, and why they're doing this is kind of an ugly reason. So, now, just so everybody understands, I'd love to have Cornel West on Crystal Kyle and Friends and talk about this and everything else with him. But we reached out, months ago, never heard back from him. So he doesn't seem like he really wants to correct the record in any way, shape, or form. That's not on me. That's on him. I could just give you the facts. Here are the facts. You make of it what you will. Again, to reiterate, all these candidates should be on the ballot and we should have ranked choice voting, so there is no spoiler effect. But that's not the system right now. And what's happening right now is in elite cabal of Republicans is moving heaven and earth to try to get Cornel West on the ballot, sometimes succeeding, sometimes failing, but he knows this, and he knows what their agenda is, and he doesn't have much to say about it. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.